I'm an internal medicine doctor. That's general adult medicine. I don't see peds, I don't do OBGYN, although I delivered a lot of babies as an intern and a moonlighter and so on in the cities. My primary interest, other than general internal medicine, has been cardiology.
Okay.
And when I was in training, they revolutionized the way you put in pacemakers. Before that, you had to crack people's chest open, do a thoracotomy, screw patches on the outside of the heart, lead a wire out, and then put the pacemaker under the skin, and sew the person up and add chest tubes. And you generally do that in people with a heart block with a heart rate of 30.
Yeah.
And then you're subjecting them to a big operation on top of that. And then about the time I came out of the Army, just after that, and went back for my residency, somebody thought, hey, we could put that pacemaker wire into a vein and lead it back into the heart and do it from the inside. And the inside of the heart is trabeculated. It looks
Okay.
kind of like this. So you could take a lead and wedge it underneath one of those little crisscross areas, and it would stay there 79% of the time. 21% of the time it would dislodge, and then you go back and put it in, and then you do it again. And anyhow, they discovered that they could do things that way. And that was when I was early in my residency. And at General Hospital in Minneapolis, the internal medicine docs were the subspecialists. And I was trained to do dialysis and peritoneal dialysis and every kind of a biopsy you can imagine. And we put in pacemakers, and I put my first one in back in 1967. And then we had a pretty good dialysis program going, and so a bunch of the internal medicine residents were going to go into nephrology, and they weren't the least bit interested in putting pacemakers in. So normally, if you were an internal medicine resident, we'd teach you how to put the pacemaker in. And so I was trying to teach these guys how to put a pacemaker in when I was chief resident or in cardiology, and they'd say, well, I'm never going to do that. I'm a nephrologist, or I'm going to be a nephrologist, so you do it. So I put a lot of pacemakers in. And when I got to Winona, no one had ever put one in here. So I said, we had somebody come in third-degree heart block, and I said, well, I know how to do that. So I've been doing that ever since. And it's hard to check. Between about 12 or 15 a year up to about 30 pacemakers a year. And that's 53 years, so it's somewhere 750 to 800 pacemakers probably I put in.
And then what else do you do?
Well, I take care of sick people, and for years I ran the coronary care unit and so on. Then we went to the hospitalist system. Then when I got older, then I just became a general internist in the clinic. But I kept on doing pacemakers. I read the pulmonary. When I came, we were doing pulmonary function tests, and I said, well, we have to do that. So I told them what to buy, and I've been reading the pulmonary function test since then. And then about 1995, bone density came along, a good bone density testing machines, and there was suddenly a good medicine for treating osteoporosis. And we were sending our bone density tests off to Mayo or Gunderson to get done. Well, if you do that, you don't get many of them done. Mm-hmm. And I told the clinic, at that time the Winona Clinic was separate from the hospital. And you're pretty nimble when you're your own clinic. You decide, I was chairman of the board anyhow, and I said, hey, we're going to start doing this. And so we bought a DEX machine, and I went off and got certified to read them. And so we started doing a lot of bone densities and started treating people with osteoporosis. So